Now, we have in the church employees or stewards. I am a steward. I'm a steward of God's money. Have you read the co-worker letter? I just read it this morning. I just got my first copy of it this morning. We are not a charitable trust. Our funds don't come from the public. We don't solicit the public for money. We don't receive our money from the public. Our money are tithes that are God's money. And they come mostly, about 80%, from our own members. About 20% from people that are not members but have voluntarily started becoming regular contributors, and we call them co-workers. But they're regular, and there are a lot of them that are regular contributors. And I know their hearts have got to be in this work because their money's in it. But we don't call them members. Now, there is a group we call donors. I didn't go far enough to explain all this in this co-worker letter, but the donors are people that might have sent a fairly good amount of money, might have sent it once. Well, we make a record of it, but we don't do anything except to thank them for it. We don't follow it up. Now, if 6 months or so later, or 3 months, or 5 months, or 7 months, or 10 months, we check and we see on the record that many months ago they sent an amount, here comes another pretty good amount, then we call them donors, and we have a special list of donors. Now, we don't know that they want to be regular contributors, so we don't solicit them for money yet. But in an annual or semi-annual letter, they will get the letter. And we will offer them something free, like a book or something. But we don't actually solicit them for money. Frankly, we hope that some of them will open up their hearts a little bit and send in some more money. But they have to do that voluntarily. We don't beg them for it. We don't ask them outright at all. However, if people, or normally our original, I don't know how they're doing it now in the mail processing department, but originally I had a standard procedure. If anyone sent money twice within 6 months, we put them on a special list, and I had a special form letter to make them co-workers. And I would send them, they'd get this letter from me. It was just a form letter, and it always the same letter went out to everybody. Of course, they didn't know a lot of other people had received it, but the letter said, nevertheless, that we noticed now that for the second time within 6 months they had voluntarily sent in money. And it had come unsolicited. So we are assuming from that you would like to be a regular co-worker. Now, if that assumption is wrong, and that is not your intention, if you just let us know that it is not your intention, we will never solicit you for money. But assuming that it is your intention that you want to be a co-worker, I'm putting you on a special list to receive a letter from me every month. And it will keep you informed on the progress of this work and the development of the work. And if we do need more money and we're in a time of need, and we usually are, incidentally, why, we're going to tell you about it. Because we assume that your heart is in the work. Jesus said, where your treasure is, your heart is also, and you put some of your treasure in the work. If that is the assumption, and you don't tell us that it isn't, why, you will get this letter every month. Now then, if that is not their intention, all they have to do is just write us once, not several times, just once, and say, no, that is not my intention. And in that case, we make a note of that on the file, and it gets into the computer. And any time you turn to it, to see that they say they do not want to be a co-worker, and we will never ask them for money again. I don't know how you can have a work that is more honest than that. But I am a steward of God's money. And I had to be very careful how that money was handled, and I was at the beginning. And I have been all the way along. That's why I did hire Mr. Rader, because I found that he understood more about a a real solid, sound bookkeeping system than anyone I knew. And so I employed him. Oh, that's been a good many years ago now. I don't know. That must have been close to 20 years ago now, isn't it? That must be. And he set up a bookkeeping system, an accounting system that is almost puncture-proof. Now, no big corporation has a more up-to-date system than we do. As a matter of fact, it's impossible for anyone, even in the department that handles our finances, to get away with something without being caught reasonably soon. I know, and Mr. Rader knows, I certainly think he knows, that the funds that come in for this work are handled honestly. Now, if we had the Attorney General or his man, Stephen Wiseman, trying to decide where we could handle money, and I had a chance to go down and talk to the founders of a new republic, founding a new constitution for a new government in Southwest Africa. They're gaining independence and starting a new country, and they wanted me to address them and give them information that would help them in drawing up a constitution for a new government. He has said, no, I don't think you should handle the funds that way. If I have a chance to preach the gospel to 18,000 people or 22,000 people in Manila, the Philippines, then I need to take along a certain little contingent with me and a lot of literature to spread and to have some ushers and to have someone help with the announcing and so on. And it means a trip over there. He would say, oh, no, preach the gospel? What do you mean gospel? I don't know anything about a gospel. I've been brought up in a religion that doesn't know anything about a gospel. We don't believe in any gospel. Well, they don't believe in Christ at all. This is the work of Christ. It's the work of God, and we can't have someone like that deciding how the money's to be spent. Now, I am accountable to God. And when I need money, I don't request it of the public. I get on my knees and ask God to send it. I say, God, you know that we need the money. I want to tell you something. You might as well get in this Bible study for the people in the churches that are going to hear it. Back in 1948, we were just about to lose the only property we had for the college at the time, which was the present library building and all that goes with it, including the lower gardens and what was then the administration building that has become a library annex since. And by December 27th, in fact before that, at least by December the 25th, that would have been Christmas Day, wouldn't it? But by that time, I had to have so many $1,000s in. Now the work at that time, this is 1948, and the income for the work was averaging $500 a day, or about $3,500 a week. And it was coming in fairly regular, it was just about that much, because there were certain tithe payers and certain co-workers, and we weren't soliciting the public, and so it was fairly regular. I had done what I could to get money in. I had even made the need known, but I hadn't asked people for money. But I'd done everything I could, and it was getting nothing. I'd made every effort I could, and I'd let people know of the need, and there was no response. And then I just prayed and made the need known to God and asked Him to take care of it. And all of a sudden, about Thanksgiving Day, right around that week, one day $3,000 came in one day when we was averaging $500 a day. Well, that made me just feel a little better. I didn't think too much of it on one day, but it was a great lift. Oh, boy. And the next day, $3,000 came in a day again. And the next day, $3,000 came in a day. Now it averaged, it might have been $2,500, and the next day $3,500, but it averaged right around close to $3,000 every day, and that kept up until after the middle of December. It kept up until we had $50,000 in the bank, in cash. And we never had money like that in our history. It came by prayer and by faith, and not by anything. Everything I did not bring it. I'd been trying for 30 days before that to get the money in, because I was trying to work ahead of time. And the money was not coming, and we were going to lose all the property. And it meant the college would have to close up, and we couldn't have continued. Now, it happened that we were also behind in paying salaries to the teachers. And right near the end of we owed some that had only taught the first year of the college that we hadn't even paid yet, although they had quit by the following end of May or June. And enough came in to pay up all of that. Enough came in to save the whole property and everything. That's the way money comes in. God has approved the way money is being handled by the fact that He still sends in the money. Now, this co-worker letter, I read it this morning. There's no request for money in it. I did say at the end that I have to make the request known to God and that there is a need continually. And I did say it, I know you will pray with me that God will supply the need. But frankly, I know that that's going to cause some people to send in some money. But they'll only do it voluntarily. I didn't ask them directly for any money. I very seldom do, but even when I do, it is to our own members and our own co-workers. Otherwise, I just don't do it. Now, let's see if I've lost my place here. I wasn't going to take so long on this chapter. Well, we've just begun. Well, anyway, the stewards, we have to give account. And I've always had to give account for my stewardship in the work of God. And the ministers have to. And we do have to check up and be sure that they are doing it.